Okay, can we start right now? Yeah. So welcome everyone to Universitas Sanata Dharma and Bina Nusantara University webinar series hosted by English Letters Department of Universitas Sanata Dharma. And I am Anindita Dewanggapuri as the chair of this webinar. For everyone, for all of the participants, please turn on your video so that we can know each other, we can know our face, okay? Again, for everyone, please turn on your video. Yeah, okay, thank you. The theme of our webinar today is turning students' thesis into journal article. And on behalf of English Letters Department of Universitas Sanata Dharma, I would like to thank Bu Clara for agreeing to give a talk in this event. And also thank you Bu Maria Prawati from Bina Nusantara University, who also joined to this webinar. And thank you also to Pak Hirmawan as the head of English Letters Department, Universitas Sanata Dharma. And also thank you to Pak Haris who helped the preparation for today's event. Last but not least, of course, I would like to thank all the participants here who already registered to this event. And it was really surprising that we have almost 50 until 60 participants here. And since this meeting is very crowded, I hope everyone can mute your microphones, okay? And especially during this presentation. And you can turn off again your video during the presentation. Okay, for now, please just turn on your video. And for the question and answer mechanism, please kindly follow my instruction later on. And to make sure that this event goes smoothly, I hope that everyone pay attention to the rules. And I will read again the rules to remind you. Okay, here are some rules that you need to pay attention. Please mute your microphone, and then the material can be downloaded at bit.ly USD BINUS 1. And then the questions can be asked via chat or by clicking raise hand button. And then the questions via chat can be asked during the presentation. And after the webinar, for the participants, please fill out the evaluation form provided, and e-certificates will be given only to the participants who join the webinar from the beginning until the end, okay? And before we start the presentation, I would like to invite Pak Hirmawan as the head of English Letters Department of Universitas Sanata Dharma to give a few words for today. Pak Hirmawan, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Dita. So I'm not really going to give a probably welcoming speech or whatever. I'm just going to inform you that this is one of the webinar series that we are going to hold, Sanata Dharma and BINUS. By this time, we will have Bu Clara sharing her materials. And then around September, probably in the beginning of September, we will have one of our lecturers to share the probably material for the Bina Nusantara students. So we are going to have more and more, hopefully, lecture exchange between Sanata Dharma and Bina Nusantara. Once again, I would express my gratitude to Ibu Clara for sharing the materials today. For Bu Maria and Pak Irfan Pak Irfan is here, I guess. Yeah, thank you for making this webinar happen, Pak Irfan and Bu Maria. And then the last, of course, to my student, Sanata Dharma University Sastra English student, I do appreciate your participation in this today's sharing in webinar series. I think that's all, Bu Gita. Thank you. Have a nice speech, Bu Clara.
Okay, thank you so much, Pak Hirmawan. Also, we are honored to have Bu Clara as our speaker today. Let me read a brief biodata of Bu Clara. Bu Clara Herlina Karjo obtained her doctoral degree in English Applied Linguistics from Unika Atmajaya Jakarta in 2013. She had an experience as a translator at PT Alex Media Computindo. She also has lots of experience as a translator since 1992 and had participated in various professional training in legal translation, legal English, and field research. She is now as a faculty member of English Department of Bina Nusantara University as subject content specialist in the field of linguistics. Okay, I would like to invite Bu Clara, and Bu Clara has 60 minutes to deliver the presentation. The screen is yours, Bu.
Okay, thank you. Uh, Sorry. By the way, okay. So this is the screen is given by Ibu Maria, I think, yeah. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for listening to this presentation. Today, I would like to share my, yeah, this is actually sharing about turning student thesis into journal articles. Why do we have to do this? There is a proverb saying that you can publish or perish. It means that if you don't publish something, then maybe someday you will perish. Yeah. So when you publish something, then you will be remembered at least once in your lifetime. Your name will appear in Google Scholar at least. Yeah. Okay. So that would be a good point for you. Before beginning, I would like to share a story about my students. Yeah, one of my students, he is big, yeah, fat. He is always being bullied since childhood. He's a loner, and then yeah, in one way or another, sometimes he is also suicidal. It means that he wants to commit suicide one day. Yeah, but one day he took internship in BINUS. We have internship for the 5th and 7th semester. He became an assistant researcher. So it turns out that his patient is doing research. Okay, so under my mentorship, he's writing papers, and then he went to seminars. One of the seminar that he went is in Sadar, maybe in 2018. And he is writing more papers and so on. And right now, two of his papers were being reviewed for Scopus Journal. So I think all of the students can do this. My student can do that, and also as a teacher, you can also do that too. Yeah. So, write the paper that you are going to take into. You can send into the Scopus Journal. So then, how can we turn our students or your own paper, your own thesis into a journal article? Therefore, in this talk, I will discuss about there will be four agenda, things that I want to discuss with you. The first one is about the structure of research paper. The uh, second one is about the how to turn your thesis into journal paper. And then the third one, I will also discuss about the requirement of a journal. And the last one, things to consider. Let's begin with the first one. Yeah, about the structure or research paper. A research paper usually consists of 5 things. The first one is the abstract, and then the introduction, theoretical background, result and discussion, and also conclusion. Okay, let's see. Yeah, maybe this is yeah. All of you are already familiar. Research paper can be thesis, can be research article, can be journal articles, and so on. So all the research paper contain these 5 things. Yeah, the last one here. After result and discussion, there would be the conclusion. Yeah? So if all research paper have uh, these elements, what are the differences then? When you found, when you see there are some differences between research paper and then journal articles. Let's see the following slide. Okay. So, what are the differences then? The first one, if you can see that the first difference is the length of the pages. Yeah, for the thesis, you may write only 50 to 80 pages. On the other hand, for journal articles, it only requires 5 to 15 pages. The next one, if you count the words for thesis, let's say for one page, you have to write 600 words. Then for thesis, it is about 30,000 to 50,000 words. While for journal articles, 3,000 to 8,000 words. Yeah. The next differences is for thesis, it is divided by chapters. So you have to write chapter 1 until chapter 5. On the other hand, journal articles are defined by headings. Yeah. So there will be no chapters, only headings. Number 1, for example, introduction. Number 2, theoretical background, and so on. Yeah. The other one, for the thesis, you will have broad and topic discussed deeply for each one. On the other hand, for journal article, you have to discuss 1 or 2 selected topics. Yeah, the main problem is that thesis is so long, and then journal article is yeah, very short. Then what should you do to change your thesis into your journal article? Let's look at the next slide. Yeah, we go to the next slide, please. There are 4 steps to turn your thesis into a journal article. This is I have made it, and then it is very short one. Yeah, just 4 steps how to turn your thesis into journal article. First of all, when you have to change your thesis into a journal article, you will have to make the trimming. Trimming means you have to select part of your thesis that you can turn into a journal article. That means it is impossible to put all the 80 pages, 50 pages of your thesis into an article. No journal can accept a 50 pages article. Yeah, so that's why you will have to trim. You only have to select part of your thesis. Let's say if your thesis have 3 problem formulation and so on, So I think for journal, you will have to cut only select one or one problem is enough, yeah, or two problems at the least. Okay, and then next one, yeah, this is what you have already done, or maybe you are familiar. You will have to copy and paste. Yeah, in this case, you copy and paste your own paper, copy the part that you have selected, and then paste it into a new document. Yeah. So let's say from 50 pages, you cut some of the introduction, cut some of the theory, and then some of the uh, results and so on. Yeah. So just copy and paste the selected parts into a new document. But then after you, let's say from 50 pages, you can select or you have trimmed it into 12 pages for each one. And after that, still, these 12 pages are too much. The next step is you have to fit your selected parts into journal template. Yeah. So in this case, I would suggest you that you uh, find the journal that you are going to send your paper to, and then try to look up for the template of the journal, and also please also see the requirements of the journal. Yeah? For example, this journal requires let's say 10 pages, or um, how many words, for example, only 5,000 words, yeah, or 3,000 words. Therefore, let's begin with the previous one. From your um, 50 pages of your thesis, and then you have cut into 12 pages, but then the journal said that you only need 10 pages. Then you will have to make another trimming. You cut again into the journal, the template or the requirements of the journal. So let's say you will get 10 pages of the journal. Yeah. So then after you fit into the journal template or the journal requirements, you will have to revise, edit, and rewrite. Yeah. So those are the 4 simple steps. But actually, it is not so simple at all. Okay, let's continue. Yeah. Um, so we have gone we have gone through the, let's say you already have 10 pages of journal the paper for the journal. Let's go on to the next one. This time we will see the percentage of each part. Yeah. We go to the next part, please. Next slide. Yeah. Okay. Basically, if you have taken one journal, for example, yeah, let's say you want to write 10 pages of 10 pages journal article, 10 page journal article, then let's look at the percentage of each part. The first one is for the introduction. Yeah, introduction usually only consists of 20% of full page. So in this case, if your uh, if your total length of paper is only 10 pages, therefore the introduction would be only 2 pages. Yeah, so for easy reference, let's say we are going to write the 10-page journal paper. Therefore, for the introduction, you only write 2 pages, and then for the research method, 10% or only 1 page. For result and discussion, this is the biggest part. You will have to write at least 50% of the of your paper for the result and discussion. And the last one is for conclusion and reference. Conclusion 10%, 10%, and then references one full page, yeah, of 10%. So the total would be 20%. In this chart, you can see that there are no theoretical background. Where do we put that? In some journal, theoretical background or theoretical framework is put in the introduction. Yeah. So some journals do not require the introduction, the theoretical background separate in separate part, but it is included in the introduction. Also the same for result and discussion. In some journal, result is separated with the discussion, but some others put the result and discussion in one session, yeah, in one section. So after we see is the percentage, you will have to make other selections. So in this case, we in these three steps that I have discussed before, we only discussed about the trimming, the selection, the trimming, and so on until you have put all the material in the correct place, yeah, in the specific places. Okay. After you have, let's say, if you want to write 10-page article, and then by trimming you have put 20% for introduction, 10% research method, result and discussion, 50%, and then the conclusion and reference is 20%. Let's say you have put all of these together. Now let's look at the next one. After that, I would like to discuss again the requirement of the journal. Yeah. So your paper is half done, baru setengah jadi. Therefore, we will have to discuss more. Ya, kita bicarakan lebih lagi apa yang diinginkan oleh jurnal. What do the journal requires? It happens to be that I am one of the reviewer for journal Lingua Cultura in BINUS. Therefore, these are the things that I will have to review regarding your the paper that is that are sent to the journal. Yeah? So first of all, the journal requires that you write the title. That the title should represent the content. Yeah. Basically, as a reviewer, I cannot decide whether it represents the content or not before I read the whole article. Yeah. So therefore, usually I will put discussion on the checklist about the title later on after I read all the article. Yeah, I read the article and then review back to the title. But actually, when you write title, it should represent content, and then title has never been mentioned before. Yeah, it means that the title should not be mentioned in other journal. How do we check for this one? Usually only by putting your title into the Google in Google, yeah, or Google Scholar. Therefore, if there is or there are some title that has similar with your paper, then it will be rejected or removed from that. Okay, the next one, beside the title, We will also discuss about or may see the abstract of the article. The requirement for the abstract is contain research problem and objective, applied research method, results, and relevant keywords. We will discuss about the abstract later on. Yeah, but these are the requirements from our journal. It might have or it might contain research problem, objective, applied research method, results, and relevant keywords. After the abstract, we'll go to the next one. That would be the introduction. Yeah? Uh, the next slide, please. Introduction is the most important one. Usually, reviewer or editor will only read three things. The first one is the title, the second one is the abstract, and then introduction. Yeah, so we will also discuss about introduction later on. Introduction, the journal asks you to provide research problems, okay, and then writer insights and plan to the problem solving effort. Yeah, it means that the first one you will have to write the research problem, research question or research problem. Second one is the writer's insight. Yeah, writer insights and plan to the problem solving efforts. That means that you have found the problem, and then what do you want to solve? What do you want to do to solve the problem? Yeah? That is also for the research objective. And then in introduction, there are also theoretical studies. As I said before, some journals requires that the theory should be put in the introduction, yeah, no, not in the separate section. Therefore, the theoretical studies is also put in the introduction here. Expectation of the result and benefits of the result. Yeah, so this is the expectation of the result, and then this will be compared to the result that you are going to discuss in the result and discussion section. Therefore, you have to write the expectation of the result, and last one is benefit of the result. In thesis, usually this is called the significance of research, significance of study. Yeah. Therefore, you will also have to include the introduction here. The next one after the introduction is the method. In the journal, requirement of the journal, the reviewer is only given the discussion about describe clearly. Yeah, so maybe it is based on the reviewer's consideration. What is meant by clearly? Yeah, in my opinion or in my experience, you will have to describe the method and then the steps of doing the research and so on. So it should be as clear as possible. So people who read your paper should not think and then guess what you are doing. Yeah. So they will. They should understand rightly. They should understand right away whatever you are doing in doing or executing your research. Okay, so after that, let's see the next slide. This is about the result and discussion. Yeah. So in result and discussion, the journal only asks you to do the data presentation, whether data presentation valid or reasonable, and also discussion relevant to research results. Yeah, sometimes it asks you to provide graphics, and so on. Yeah. So basically, in result and discussion, data presentation is valid and reasonable. That means yeah, it is also relevant to research results, relevant to the problem that you are talking or you are writing previously. Then you may discuss. Okay, the last one is conclusion. Conclusion in our journal, it consists of 5 things here. So summary of the main finding and then research contribution. Usually in the thesis, you only do the summary of the main finding. Yeah? So in journal article, this is not enough. You don't just summarize the the results, but in conclusion, you will also have to include the research contribution. Yeah, so research contribution means if people are reading your research, then what are the benefits? Yeah, what are the benefits that they get, and so on. The next one is implication. Implication means that whether your research had some impact on the field that you are studying, or for people who are reading your research and so on. Next one is limitation. Limitation here means that your research should, yeah, if you have any troubles or problems in doing the research and what you don't write, yeah, what you didn't do on your research, then say as a limitation. Therefore, you can also make the suggestion for future research. Okay, so these 5 things should be put in the conclusion section. Yeah? Okay, so um, these are the journal requirements. Each journal may be required differently, yeah, but basically they are all the same. Now let's go on to the next one, or this is I think the most important one. You will have to see or hit these 4 important things. Either you are students who have written your thesis, or maybe for those for teachers who are going to change your students' thesis into journal article. The first one, as I said before, usually reviewer only read the first read 3 things. Yeah, the first one is write interesting title, and then the second one is good abstract, and then introduction. So for this talk, I will only discuss 3 things. Yeah, but then for the review, for the revision and um, review, we will also discuss how to make your writing coherent. These are the 4 things that you will have to pay attention to when you want to write a journal article. Let's begin with the first one. How about writing the title? Yeah. So we will begin with the title. I have collected uh, some of the title from maybe from Sanata Dharma University, yeah, from the students. So if I ask, if I use 1 or 2 of your paper, you don't have to raise your hand. I mean, nggak usah ngaku gitu ya. Jadi this is for our learning together. Okay, so title should indicate the field of research and then tell the story about the research. And it should not be too long. To look at these in detail, let us look at uh, um, the samples from my document, or Word document. Yes. Okay, let's go to the Word document. Okay, so these are the three things for the title that I would like to share or discuss with you all. The first one is when you are writing a good title, sometimes you are writing, the first one is misleading title. What is meant by misleading? People will think differently. Yeah, there is nothing wrong with this title actually. So, for example, phonological process in Japanese students, pronunciation of interdental and palatal sound in Edgar Allan Poe's The Bell. In this title, there are two preposition in, yeah. Jadi, so I sit here. When I read this one, um, suddenly I think that um, these students are doing the pronunciation in these novels, yeah, or sorry, maybe this is the poetry. Um, so I directly, or I think that kok bisa apa students ini bisa masuk ke puisinya si Edgar Allan Poe, ya. So I will have to read again and again until I get what he what the writer wants to convey in this title. Yeah. Okay. So please do not write title that that can direct people to think other way. Ya. Jangan mengarahkan orang ke hal yang lain. You will have to do make a good title by not misleading. Second one, the second example is the title that is too long. Yeah, basically our in journal, usually you will have to write less than 15 words. Yeah, maybe because this is the title of thesis, skripsi itu boleh berapa nih? How many words are there? 24 or 25 words. Yeah, so for journal it is too long. Yeah, even though some of the words are taken as or the title of the speech, yeah. So I think you will have to trim this title if you want to send it to journal article. And then the next one is too general. Yeah? What is meant by too general? This title does not give any hints or clue what is inside the article. Yeah, for example, if you see, Maria, slang words used by uh, main characters in Straight Outta Compton movie, the previous one. Yeah. Okay, slang words used by main character in Straight Outta Compton movie. So what? Yeah. So if you write this title, yeah, there is only slang words. Kenapa dengan slang words? Yeah. So it is not too interesting for others to read. If you know slang words, then what? And then the next one is the politeness strategies in Indonesian diplomat speech. Yeah, politeness strategies. I mean that this is not to yeah your title should give hints of what you are going to write in this in your article. Yeah. So let's say you only want to say politeness strategy. So what in the politeness strategy? Okay. The next one is the title that is common topic. Yeah. For example, among the linguistic students. Yeah. Code switching is the most uh, used theory that you are or topic that you are going to write. Ya, paling banyak ini pakai code switching. And then what is code switching here? Usually, when you are discussing about code switching, you only discuss about the type intersentential, intrasentential, and then text switching, and so on. And maybe the function can also reason. So these things are written uh, more and more and then repeatedly. Yeah. Therefore, when you want to write uh, an article, it might not be so interesting anymore. Therefore, it might be rejected if there is nothing new about this common topic. Yeah. Therefore, what you should do, for example, this is the example. The possible reason of Indonesian English code switching used in Arnold Purnomo YouTube video, masakin istri kepiting terenak di dunia. This is quite long. Yeah. Actually, the content is about the reason of code switching, and then the material is the YouTube video masukin istri kepiting terenak. But again, as I said before, this is the topic is too common. You only discuss about the reason. There is no um, no new things about this. Therefore, to make it more appealing, you can find a specific aspect. What do people not know about the code switching? For example, in this case, we will add culinary terms. Yeah, culinary terms. Apa istilah-istilah masak itu maybe not many people know about culinary terms. Yeah, therefore we can put it here. Code switching in culinary terms in Arnold Purnomo YouTube video masakin istri kepiting terenak di dunia. Yeah. So in this case, there is one thing that is that catch your attention. Yeah, not only the reason of code switching and so on. Okay, so that is about the title. The next one, we are going to see the introduction. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, not introduction, but the abstract. Yeah. So abstract should consist of 150 until 200 words. Yeah. Abstract should include background, problem statement, applied method, result, and application. Yeah. Here, let's look at the PowerPoint first. Yeah, in the PowerPoint for abstract number 12. Okay, this one. Yeah. Yeah, usually you will have to do the abstract of 150 until 200 words. Yeah. Abstract should include, this is based on the material that we have to put these things in the abstract. Abstract should contain background, problem statement, applied methods, results, and also implications. So there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Abstract should contain five elements. Yeah, basically abstract is the summary of your paper. Therefore, it should include all the elements of your paper. But one thing that you have to pay attention to, abstract should be written after the research has been done. Yeah, why is this so? Because you will have to put the result in your abstract. Yeah, if you haven't done the result, you haven't done the research, then you cannot put the result here. Yeah. Let us see the example. I have taken some example of Sanata Dharma students' paper and also our students' paper, BINUS paper. So let us look at their abstract. Please share the abstract again. Okay, so this is one of the abstract that I have taken as the example. This is about the translation, yeah. Translation is purposely used to connect people and so on, yeah. So let us separate or let us cut this into its sentences and then look at the elements of the abstract. Let's see the next one. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at this one. Yeah. So I have cut some of the abstract here. So the sentence of the abstract. It consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 or how many? I think uh, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 uh, sentences. Yeah. The first one, let's begin with the first sentence. Translation is purposely used to connect people to one another. Yeah. This is a general statement. Yeah. The second one, translation strategies and so on. Yeah. This is the theory. Yeah. Actually, this paper is about the translation tips, maybe. Yeah. And then, in effort to for achieving this goal, translation categories are unavoidable in the process of delivering the meaning. Yeah, this is also a general statement. But let's see, I highlight this one. In effort for achieving this goal, when I look up, there is no goal here. Ya. Jadi untuk mencapai tujuan ini, tujuannya yang mana ya? Di atas itu belum ada tujuannya sama sekali. Baru general statement, baru teori, and then for achieving this goal, I thought that this one should be the purpose of the this article, but actually this is still a general statement. And then back to theory again. Based on Capford, there are 4 types of category shift, which are structure shift, class shift, unit rank shift, impact system shift. In this case, yeah, although I didn't talk about the uh, references, I think you will also have to consider the use of outdated theory like this one, yeah, because if you want to make or to send your article, they will not accept that your theory is 1965. Yeah, this is even your when your mother has not been born. Yeah. Okay, the next one. After that, let's see general statement, another theory, and then the next one. Instagram is the most usable social media used by business vendors as it is easy for them to post picture with editable visual caption. Now, the background is yeah, just given in this sentence, yeah. So from this, maybe you can guess that this paper is about the translation strategies in Instagram. Yeah, yeah, but it has asked you to read 4 sentences before getting the background of the study. Yeah. The next one is purpose. This research was conducted to evaluate translation strategies and category shift used by continue, um, one of the business vendors in Yogyakarta, Fortunate Coffee. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. Okay. So this is the purpose. Purpose is to evaluate translation strategy and category shift used by one of the business vendors in Jakarta, Fortunate Coffee. And then the prior to methods, the data were collected from Fortunate Coffee bilingual caption polls. Ini baru methods ya, data collection were analyzed using theories of translation strategies, by Suryawinata dan Haryanto, and category 6 by Catbird. So the methods here contains of data collection and then data analysis. Yeah, the method is okay here. Then, as I said before, because you will have to write abstract after you write the paper, this should be the result. But maybe because this is the abstract for writing thesis, this is still expected result. Yeah, it is expected that the result of the research will clearly reveal which kind of translation strategy and so on. Yeah. So if you are writing an abstract for journal article, do not write it is expected, but the results of this research were, yeah, or are, let's say 7 or 3 translation strategies. Yeah. Okay, so let's go on to the second sample of your of the abstract. Yeah. The second sample is maybe it is one of your paper two. This is about the what is it? Language is most new terms of maybe this is about morphology. Yeah. So as previous one, let us continue with the the sequence or the sentences, separate sentences for this abstract. Next slide, please. Slide berikutnya. Yeah, this one will be divided into several sections, beberapa bagian. Ibu Maria, tolong yang berikut di bawahnya. Yeah, this abstract consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ada 10 kalimat di sini ya. Oke. Sudah diputar screen-nya. Okay, I haven't seen the screen from Maria. Yeah, okay, so let's see. The first one is background. Yeah, language is one of the most essential tools for us as social beings, and it always evolves along with the development of human knowledge. There is the background, and then the next sentence. Yeah, okay, it's getting out there. New terms are being created through time in order to describe certain human activities. This is also the background. These phenomena can be found anywhere, and one of them is in the video game industry, in the community that revolves around it. This is also the background. Yeah? So the writer here writes 3 sentences as a background. Probably you can only use one of the sentences, so you can combine these 3 sentences. Okay, the next one, method. The researchers picks a YouTube video related to vainglory as the object of study. Since vainglory belongs to MOBA genre of video game, and MOBA genre is known for its heavy use of specific terms. This research use morphology approach and purposes sampling methods to identify the words formation in synoptic glories related to video. Yeah, so this is the purpose. And then researchers only pick specific terms that only existed in video game will use the data. This is also the method. So in this case, you the purpose and the method is sandwiched here. Therefore, it is better if you put the purpose first and then the method in one uh, one or two sentences. So just combine the methods. The next one is the result. Yeah. The researcher found compounding is the dominant type of formation, video with 6 data followed by 4 acronym, 3 derivations, 2 clipping. So as a whole, I think this second abstract is better than the previous one, yeah, because it continue, it has the background and it has the method and it also has the purpose and also the result. What is missing is only the implication of this uh, result. Yeah. Okay. So those are about the abstract. I will then talk about the introduction. Let's go back to the slide. For the introduction, yeah, introduction, you will have to follow the structure of a journal paper. And don't forget, you have to provide the flow of thought to introduce the research question, and then it should move from general to specific. So this is also important when you write introduction. Usually, introduction, the function of introduction is um, to bring your reader, yeah, to your topic, yeah. So to bring your reader to know about your topic. Therefore, the flow is from general to specific. There is also some differences when you write the introduction in the thesis and also introduction of the journal articles. Yeah. So let us look at the examples again from the Word document. Okay, so because the introduction is yeah, quite long, so I divide it into paragraphs. Yeah, this is the sample of article that I took from the previous abstract about the game, the morphology game. Yeah. In the first um, paragraph, the writer is writing, introducing the field study morphology. Yeah? Okay, since this is a thesis, yeah, this is taken from a thesis article from thesis. Okay, basically when you are doing or writing for journal article, do not begin with the field, yeah, the field of study, like for example here, morphology, one of the brand studies. This is, yeah, kind of theoretical. Do not put as the introduction as yeah, the first sentence of the introduction. Yeah, okay. This is the sample. The next paragraph, the writer is talking about what? Discussing the topic word formation process, and then relating to vocabulary in video games, and then the purpose of study. Yeah, so um, yeah, he is actually doing the specifying from the general to specific here, discussing the work from the morphology and then word formation process, then relate to vocabulary and video games. And at the end, um, he is writing about the purpose of the study. Yeah, the aim of this study is to analyze vocabulary developed in. Let's go on the next one. Video game industry using morphology approach. The last paragraph here, the writer is writing about the source of data for the research, Xenotech Glory related video, so on. And next one, previous research. Yeah, usually in in thesis, you are in writing the thesis, you are assigned to find two journal articles or previous studies that has been uh, done for the for similar topics. Yeah, but then you will also have to find out the research gap. Yeah, what is meant by research gap? It means that what the previous study has not done previously, but you will do in this study. Yeah. So the research gap I have put in the highlighting here. While risky and multinational article only focus on finding the word formation type, this research conducted deeper analysis by analyzing the meaning of each word. Yeah. Okay, if you take this from the introduction of your thesis right away to the journal, this might not be the correct structure for the journal article. Yeah, why is that? For example, in writing this research gap on previous studies, if you want to write a journal article, this should be integrated in the all the introduction. Yeah, I will give another sample. Yeah, basically this other sample. This is also based on the thesis, but it has been through a lot of what editing. Yeah, therefore when you make the journal, maybe or the teacher should do a lot of editing time. Yeah, let's look at the next one. Next one, please. Okay. This is one of my students. Yeah, we wrote about machine translation, basically Google translation, and it has been published in journal in the journal. Yeah, maybe you can find in Google Scholar later on about this journal. Yeah, in the first paragraph, I wrote machine translation is becoming more popular nowadays because of its ability to translate text and so on. Yeah. So at the beginning paragraph, we have to introduce the topic. Yeah. The big topic, for example, in this case, the machine translation. And you can also see that the references is inserted in some sentences here. Yeah, so it is not separated in different sections. For example, when we write about the machine translation, I put here the these are the speed of the translation, grammatical rules. Yeah, so this is basically about machine translation from this article. And in the next paragraph, we have to specify the topic. Yeah? So the first paragraph is introduction of the big topic, machine translation, for example. And then in the next one, you will have to specify, make it smaller. That means make it narrower. From the machine translation, we go to Google translation. Yeah. So in this case, the purpose is to bring the reader to step by step to our specific topic. So in the second paragraph, we discuss about specifying the topic. This is for Google Translation. On the next paragraph, let us see. Next paragraph, discussing problems in real world. Yeah, so this is still uh, the background. So we'll have to discuss the problems in real world. What happens in sorry, what is the problem with Google Translate? Yeah. So I wrote here Google college students, especially majoring in English literature, often rely on Google Translate in doing their academic work, such as for writing their thesis. Yeah. This phenomenon happens in our university, maybe not in yours, yeah, hopefully not, but we have these problems. Okay, so it is discussing problem in real world regarding the translation, and still more going to specify in the topic, translation of lexical collocation. So in this case, we cannot just say, for example, yeah, the abstract, for example, here. Google translation of abstract. That would be too broad. Yeah, you will have to specify again. In this case, I will only take. I only took translation of lexical collocation. Even for lexical collocation, it could make yeah, one thesis of 50 pages. Yeah, but it's short. So sorry, for an article, I only took how many 20 abstract here. Okay, then um, since the topic is about translation of lexical collocation, then I will have to give theoretical overview of collocation. Yeah, what is meant by collocation, and finally we go for uh, mirror about the purpose of study. Yeah. So yeah, this is part of the introduction. As I said before, that in some journal the theory is put on in the introduction section. Therefore, the rest of this you will have to find some related literature regarding the translation and so on. Yeah. So the rest of the regarding or relating to the theory used for this article. Okay, so one last thing that I will have to discuss is our coherence. Yeah, let's look at the slides. What is meant by kita ke slides. Yeah, this is the last one. Coherence means, yeah, yeah, this is I think one of the biggest weakness for from our students paper, from the students paper. So if you are students, then you can correct or you can improve about the coherence of the paper. And sometimes the paper cannot be read because it lacks of coherence. Coherence means that the writing follows the logical thought. Yeah, there is a proverb or something that maybe you have already familiar. Apa? Jaka sembung lagi santuy, nggak nyambung cuy. Nah, semuanya jadi nggak nyambung ya. That is what is meant by coherence. Your writing is not nggak nyambung ya. Subsequent paragraph should be related and then using appropriate sentence connector. kita lanjut ke ya, the last one is for the observe the coherence in paragraph and between paragraph. This Bu Maria, last paper for the right document, the Word document. I will give you some samples. This is one of the samples that I took from my students. Ya, ini ngebetulinnya setengah mati nih ya. So let's see. When you write about coherence, there are basically two things. The first one within one paragraph. The second one is between paragraph. Ya, jadi dalam satu paragraph, in one paragraph, there should be only one main idea. Ya. For example, in this sentence, Instagram has been chosen media for teens and young millennials in presenting themselves. It allows users to upload visualization in the form of photo and video along the textual, commonly known as caption. So the first and second sentence talk about Instagram. Yeah? And then the next sentence, interaction can be created through comments, likes, posts, and so on. Even though it is interaction in Instagram, but the topic is about interaction. So therefore, there is no connectivity between the previous sentence and this sentence. Again, in the third sentence, the writer is intrigued to discover how gender self-presentation. Yeah? In the sentence, the writer, and then the writer is talking about gender self-presentation. Okay, so this is another or different topic again. And next one, nowadays people are required to be as real as they can be. Yeah, so millennial self-authenticity is presented in real life. Yeah. Here, as you can see, dalam satu paragraph, yeah, in one paragraph there are 5 topics here. Yeah, it is yeah, you can improve this by adding connectors between these or by separating into several paragraphs. Okay, the other one is connectivity between paragraphs. Ya, jadi antar paragraf itu harus ada hubungan. For example, in the first paragraph, one of my students says, continuing moves can be achieved by giving elaboration, extension, or enhancement. Later on, divided into monitoring moves, prolonging moves, and so on and so on. So this paragraph discusses about continuing moves, but again, the reacting move mainly divided into responding, rejoining. Yeah, this is about still about moves, but suddenly in the next paragraph he talks about adjacency pairs consist of 2 actions. Yeah, so there is no connection with this, between this. Yeah, the first paragraph you write about continuing moves, but the next paragraph discussing about adjacency pair. What does it have to do with this topic? Yeah. Okay. So what you will have to do, for example, is by giving or connecting. Yeah, connecting these 2 paragraphs by using connectors. Maybe you already have learned about coherence and then writing and connecting sentences so that the sentences or the paragraph flow smoothly. Yeah. Okay, one last example. Maybe we can go back to the sample of tadi contoh dari introduction ya yang ya the previous one Ibu Maria introduction of xenotext tadi ya Glory morphology ya the previous one. Okay. Mhm. Nah, uh, this paragraph, sorry, this introduction has, yeah, yeah, has used some of the um, coherence devices. Okay, seperti ini ya. According to Rizky and Marlina in the second paragraph, ya. According to Rizky and Marlina dan seterusnya, and then moreover, its community. Second paragraph, uh, Ibu Maria. And this one, okay. According to Rizky and Marlina, word formation and so on and so on, the total words currently. Moreover, this is the example of connector between sentences and okay in linguistics. In this case, he used another one di bawahnya ada. In linguistic field of study, video game, another words moreover, and then therefore, yeah. So you will have to learn how to use these connectors so that your sentence, yeah, your paragraphs would be flowing smoothly. Okay, let's go back to slides again. I think that would be all that I can discuss today. I will finish my job here. Thank you. And then I will return to Felicia. Sorry, Anindita.
Yeah, thank you, Bu Clara, for sharing on how to turn student thesis into journal article. So everyone, are you still here? Semuanya masih ada di sini ya? Okay. Here I will give conclusion that we need to pay attention to introduction, research method, result and discussions, conclusion, and also the references to transfer it into a journal, and make sure that you have an interesting title, a good abstract, a complete introduction, and make your writing coherent. And now is the time for a question and answer. We still have for about 15 until 20 minutes for the sessions. Any questions from the participants? You can just raise your hand or maybe just write down the questions into the waiting. Uh, okay. Any questions? Okay, perhaps I have one questions for you, Bu Clara.
Yeah.
What about the references that we use to in the journal? Because sometimes when we have submitted our article, when the reviewer has also correcting our article, sometimes they say that these references is too old. So,
Yeah.
do you have any suggestions about the references for the journal article?
Okay. In my in the journal of BINUS, for example, it requires 80% of the references should be less than 5 years. Yeah, and then the other 20% maybe previous one. So therefore, suppose you will have 20 references, Therefore, 15 references should be less than five years. Yeah, that means if you send in 2020, you will have to find articles from 2015 until now. Yeah, so maybe you can only find 5 articles that are below that year. Yeah, and then one um, suggestion, you can also use double citation. I mean that when, for example, the previous um, reference that I have shared, Catford 1965. It is too old, yeah. Even you are not born, you were not born yet. Uh, then you can use, for example, Catford in uh, Anindita 2015. Yeah, let's say you also use that that reference. So we can quote from the latest one to use that reference. Maybe that would be a good one to do rather than using the 1965 or 1918 and so on. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bu Clara. Uh, for the participants, do you have any questions? Okay, from Melina. Good afternoon. Oh, good afternoon, Bu Clara. Is it okay to put both abstract and introduction into one? Because sometimes abstract is not written in the requirements. Okay.
What do you mean, both abstract and introduction into one? Abstract should be separated to in introduction. Yeah? I think in some papers or some journals, they require, all journals require abstract. You cannot put abstract in introduction and introduction into one section, I think.
Okay. Thank you, Meliana, for the questions. Any other questions? Okay. If there's no questions, I think this is the end of our meeting today because there's no more questions from the participants. Okay, again, I would like to thank Bu Clara for sharing with us. And thank you also to Bu Maria and also Pak Irfan Rifai from Bina Nusantara University because both of you also have joined to this Zoom online. And for your information, if you miss some part of this presentation, you can always go to the Google Drive that will be shared later. And also please to fulfill the evaluation form because it can make us to improve, to provide a better event for the future, okay? And thank you again for all of the participants. Thank you, Bu Clara. Thank
Thank
you,
you. Thank
Maria,
you
and thank you,
semua.
Pak Irfan. Yes. And hope to see you again in our upcoming events. Thank you and see you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.